He was born in Batesville, Indiana, which is about 50 miles from here. It's a German farming community, so he grew up on the farm, raised by farmers, and probably did a little more farm work than he wanted to. But he loved playing sports as well, so probably a lot more than farming. So especially by the time he was in high school, I think he decided sports is one thing he really wanted to do. So when he had the opportunity to be the first person in his family to go to college and to play football, I know he was definitely going to take that opportunity. So he came to Hanover in 1957, and I think he made the most of his college football days on the field. He was four-year letterman for football, part-time starter as a freshman, full-time starter as a sophomore, junior, and senior, where he played guard, center, linebacker, and he was voted most valuable team lineman. He was a co-captain of the team, and he was all-conference as a center. So it was during his years at Hanover, I think, this is when he really decided that he wanted to coach football. So after he graduated in 1961, as you mentioned, that's exactly what he did. He coached head coach for football and track, which I don't think he was the fastest guy ever, but somehow he got coaching track, for multiple high schools in southwest Indiana for 7 years. Most of these programs really didn't have a winning tradition, but he kind of turned those programs around and got them and made them into winners. So I think he became known for that. In 1968, he began his college coaching career for, again, football and track at Rose Poly, which is now Rose Holman Institute, and then DePaul University, as you mentioned. Again, he turned these programs, I think, actually, Dad, if I wasn't mistaken, didn't Rose Holman have the longest losing streak in football for, like, in the nation for like 3 years? They didn't win a game. So again, he turned that around, and within a matter of a couple of years, he actually won, as you mentioned, track and football conference titles, along with other coaching awards and team awards in those 11 years. So if you played with him or you were coached by him, you were going to be prepared, I guarantee you that, and you're going to be put in the best possible position to succeed. He always believed that you should play the game the right way, both on and off the field. So growing up, I was really fortunate to have a dad that was always there for me and always wanted to help and teach me. I'm sure the other teams that he played of or were part of felt the same way about him too. And now I'm trying to pass along those great lessons that he taught me about sports and ultimately about life to my son. So in my eyes, my dad has always been a Hall of Famer. As a son, a brother, a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a friend. So I'm very honored to present him, my dad, Bob Bergman, into the Hanover Athletic Hall of Fame.
I think I have a tear in my eye. Thanks, Rob, for that nice introduction. It's great to have your son introduce me to an event like this. And I'd like to introduce my family. First of all, Rob's family, his wife Kiki, Dr. Kiki, my grandson Brock, my wife of 44 years, the love of my life Linda, friends of ours from Brazil and our complex in Spring Hill, Florida, Jim and Marilyn Plummer, and my high school football coach, Paul Duke Meyer. Coach, thanks for being my mentor and now my friend. Coach, of course, lives in Madison right now. I want to thank Ms. Lynn Hall for her time and effort in setting this up and making this a successful program. I also want to thank Gary Kemper, who was supposed to be here, but he's babysitting this week because they're having another grandchild. Gary's my little brother fraternity, and he was going to be here, but he can't be. In the few minutes I'm up here, I'm going to relate to you the journey of a young man through Hanover and beyond. That young man was me, Bob Bergman. In the winter and spring of my senior year in high school, I was trying to decide where to go to college. I'd visit Hanover, and I liked it, but I was actually going to go to one or two other schools. And Coach Kelly, the football coach, called and said, Bob, why don't you come back down for a visit? I did, and I decided I want to come to Hanover. So he said, I'll call you back in a couple of days, and I'll set everything up. I said, fine, Coach. He called me back in a few days and said, Bob, you're going to come down and take a test to get into Hanover. I said, really, Coach? I said, set it up, I'll be there. Now, folks, I wasn't a terrible student, but I had some C's on my report card, and mainly, I was young as a sick kid of a farm family, and higher education was the top priority in my family. And I never thought about going to college until probably my junior in high school, and I had some success in athletics. So anyway, Coach set this up. I go on campus, and I meet Dr. Kuntz. He gives me some of you people know Dr. Coase. He gives me a test. He scores it. I said, sir, how did I do? I remember his exact words. Bob, you didn't pass the flying colors, but you're in. So now I'm in Hanover. Preseason football starts my freshman year, and I meet a very important person in my life, Dr. Tom Johns, assistant football coach, dean of men, campus chaplain, and later president of Pikeville College in Kentucky. We have a water break. Coach John didn't talk about football. He talked about life. I remember one time in a water break, he was talking about how to and how not to treat your girlfriend. He talked about table manners. He talked about social graces. I want to tell you something. We had some great discussions out there, like a little mini lecture series. Well, actually, they weren't discussions, little mini lecture series by Coach Johns. The great thing about Hanover is that when you go to college and you sit in the classroom, you're going to learn. Wherever you go, you're going to learn something. At Hanover, you get the extra. In my case, it was maybe a specialist like Coach Johns and other people also. And I thank Hanover, not every day of my life, but a lot, for allowing me to come here, graduate, coach football, play football, and all that, and now it's kind of a full circle coming back. I'm a freshman now, and school has started. I'm walking across the campus in speech class. Folks, this little farm wasn't much stand and talk in front of anybody, believe me. And I want to tell you something. If they had been manufacturing those Depends things for seniors, I've been wearing them because I need them. I'm now coaching and teaching 7 years in high school. I coached football, track, and some basketball. Taught mostly business and history, a little bit of physical education. I'm named head football coach at Rose Polytechnic Institute in Terre Haute, Indiana. Folks, I'm so excited, I want to tell the world. I'm still a bachelor. I don't have a guy to share it with. I don't want to scream and shout it out. I'm a football coach in college. Then realization set in. I'm going to a great school, great people, but probably the worst football program in the United States. Without a doubt. They had the longest losing streak in the nation right before I got there. I'll tell you something, folks. I learned something in Hanover. I learned to be prepared. Preparation is the key. First thing I did, I found the two biggest, strongest guys I could find. Didn't have many, but I found two of them. And every day, after my first season, my first practice session, before the first season, we'd practice. I'd jump up, they'd hoist me up their shoulders and carry me off the field. I mean, to tell you, we got good at this. So one day I said, now guys, these guys weren't sharp up here, being at Rose Hall, they were pretty sharp. Finally I said, guys, our first game coming up, and every home game, I don't care if we win, lose, or tie, you're going to carry me off the field. One kid looked at me and says, Coach, I understand, we'll do what you have, but why do we carry you off the field after a loss? I said, guys, it's like this. At every home game, we're going to have a lot of important people there. The president, board directors, alumni, family. When you carry me off after a loss, they're going to say, you know, that Coach Bergman sure isn't much of a coach. But dang it, the kids seem to like him. Let's keep him around one more year. That's how I kept my job at Rose Hall for 9 years. And a couple years at DePaul University. One of the things I remember, it always amazed me, when I was coaching at Rose Hallman, and then DePaul University, is after an alumni function, whether it was attending or speaking or whatever, the guys especially would always stand around and talk about the things they did in college and how they enjoyed it. They talk about their parties and their pranks they played, things like that. And they always want to talk about their rank in class and things. I never said anything. I just kind of stood there. Finally, one day, one kid asked me, he says, Coach, how about you? I said, guys, I'm going to tell you something. I was not valedictorian. I was not salutatorian. But I did rank third in my class. I mean, they went crazy. There's some pat me on the back and shoulders, and this is a true story, by the way. Coach is third in his class. Wow! Finally, one kid says, Coach, where were you third in your class? I said, well, I attended a one-room schoolhouse in the first grade. I had one teacher, grades 1 through 6. He said, you were third in your class in the first grade? I said, yeah. He said, well, how many in your class? I said, 3. There was Ronnie, Billy, and Bobby, and I was Bobby. When Billy graduated from the University of Cincinnati and became a banker, Ronnie from Purdue became a county agriculture specialist, and Bobby from Hanover and IU became a college football coach. Not bad for 3 little country bumpkins. One of the things I learned at Hanover College is class, C-L-A-S-S. Dr. John Hunter became president my sophomore year in college. And I met him once or twice, didn't really know him like most students, but when I was coaching at Rose Poly, we brought our team down here every year for 9 years, probably 4 or 5 times. And every time I ran on the field with my team, Dr. Hunter was there with his hand out saying, Bob, welcome back to Hanover. I really thought that was a class act and something you didn't have to do. I have one regret in my coaching career. On 2 occasions, when the football job opened in Hanover, he had his people call me to come down and talk to him, and I didn't because I was happy where I was at that time, but I always regretted not coming down and talking to I thought was a great man. Folks, I want to again thank anyone who was responsible for helping me get in this Hall of Fame, and because of my age, I want to especially thank you for putting me in now rather than posthumously. I don't think I would have enjoyed that. Thank you very much, and go Panthers!